This program is presented by International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Welcome to Business and Beyond. Starting this episode, we'll start a mini-series of discussions with authorities from some of the country's trading partners. Up for discussion are insights, developments, and concerns related to the economic relations of these partners.
Other than the market focus, we continue featuring the key and emerging products that are expected to push the country's export performance. Plus, another successful micro-enterprise gets the spotlight as it emerged better from the ruins of the Typhoon Haiyan. This comes next after the business news last week.
More ships are expected to be attracted to call at Subic Bay Freeport with a new container freight station at the new Container Terminal 2, which is operated by Subic Bay International Terminal Corporation. The facility will have an initial storage space of 840 square meters, expandable up to 1,860 square meters. The freight station will be capable of stripping or stuffing 8 containers simultaneously, with an annual capacity of 600,000 20-foot equivalent units. SBITC is a subsidiary of International Container Terminal Services, Inc., or ICTSI, which is engaged in port operation management and development. While EDC recognizes the objective of this bill is to promote a healthy lifestyle among Filipinos, however, its passage seemed to hamper the world of the beverage industry, local sugar farmers, as well as fruit farmers, as consumption of their products will decline. Accordingly, SSBS do not pose a health concern when consumed normally. Business and Beyond had the pleasure of attending the 50th International Bazaar attended by consuls and other foreign delegates at the Sofitel Hotel. The bazaar's special guest was none other than former President Fidel V. Ramos, who regarded this project as something close to his heart because it was organized by his mother, educator, and women's rights leader Angela Valdez Ramos, who organized this 50 years ago.
We are happy that this important event, which is the International Bazaar, organized by the Department of Foreign Affairs 50 years ago by my dear beloved mother, Mrs. Angela Valdez Ramos' wife, or the head of the Department of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Secretary Narciso Ramos from Pangasinan. Tayo ay lahat patungo sa global community, one world, one family. Kaya natin to. Kaya yan.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained. International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
The European Union is one of the country's major trading partners, but recent negative statements from President Duterte may have caused some awkward tension between the two. Let's see if there's basis for that concern as we talk about these relations with the head of the EU delegation's Economic and Trade section, Mr. Walter Van Hassel. What were the initial reactions to those statements and how is it now?
Well, we're doing pretty good. I mean, I'm overlooking the trade and economic relations, so I really focus on what the Philippines is doing in the economic policy front. Okay. And as you know, we are doing quite well on trade and investments. The EU is one of your largest trading partners, and it's not only the largest trading partner, it's also growing quite substantially. So actually last year we saw a record high in bilateral trade between the European Union and the Philippines, but the European Union was also the largest investor in the Philippines. So out of the 250 billion pesos invested last year, roughly 90 billion of that came from European origin. What we appreciate a lot is the 10-point socio-economic plan of this government. What we also appreciate a lot is that the economic secretaries, they all seem to want to further the economic reforms that started cautiously under the previous regime and that seem to be now going further.
Where does the Philippines figure in the global economic interests of the EU?
The Philippines, the EU, is the third or the fourth largest trading partner, together with countries such as China, Japan and the US. The other way around, it's not as high on our list. It's roughly number 40 in terms of European Union's trading partners over the world. Having said that, it's a very important country. You're part of ASEAN, which is a great kind of opportunity both for the colleagues here. Philippines is unique for two reasons, and I think you know them very well. One is that your BPO business exports to the EU are very big. So actually the Philippines has a trade surplus with the European Union, both in goods and in services. And the other one is of course the overseas workers. We have roughly 800,000 Filipinos living and working in the European Union, which grew last year alone by 14%, many of them seafarers.
There are in fact three things, developments that will help improve further the relationship. One is the Philippine Cooperation Agreement that was signed in 2012. Then we also have the GSP Plus and the Free Trade Agreement.
Well, first on the trade agreement, what we see is that there is a large growth, but we also recognize the potential is so much bigger. GSP Plus was, as the Filipinos say, a Christmas gift back in 2014. Now, it's a very effective instrument for the Philippines. What you see is that the figures for 2015 indicate that Philippine exports to the European Union under GSP Plus, so again 0% duties, were 1.5 billion euros, which is roughly 30 to 35% of all your exports, and also a growth of roughly 40% compared to the year before. I also checked the number of exports to the EU, and that's roughly 3.2 billion euros worth of exports, including also products falling under GSP Plus. And so actually what you see is that all the sectors in the Philippines have an opportunity to benefit. What an FTA could bring to this is that you would get even more investments.
Globally, in the past 1.5 years or so, demand has slowed down.
The latest growth figures is 1.8% GDP growth. Now that's not the 7.1% that you have, but if you consider the kind of age of our population, so we're quite happy with the 1.8%, even though we don't want to be complacent. More importantly, the unemployment figures have come down quite substantially. We are now roughly 8.5%.
If, for example, there's a new exporter, is there a thing like testing the market in the EU? Is there a country where they can market test their products first? Or?
It doesn't matter which country you go to, because once it's within the EU, all the goods, capital, people, they can move around freely. So
what are some tips on how to do business with the Europeans, especially for Filipino investors or exporters?
The nice thing about Filipinos are great people. You're extremely friendly, you're very open. I had an important mission from Brussels last week, looking at aviation. We want to have an aviation agreement to get more flights to and from the EU and ASEAN, also helping a lot of the business. And then of course we have a lot of chambers of commerce, also here in the Philippines. We have the European Chamber of Commerce, very active, and we also have a number of bilateral chambers of commerce. So my advice to any business person who is based here, maybe, you can always come to our office, but also go to their offices and then try to link and let them link you with the business people from Europe. We are also organizing a number of events next year when the Philippines is hosting ASEAN, including hopefully a very ambitious business summit, and I hope we can invite you there as well. Because that's the kind of activities where we as policymakers, I'm a bureaucrat, I cannot do the business for them, but at least we can together create conditions so that our business people find each other and make business.
All right. This is very reassuring for us, Walter. Thank you very much for your time and your input. Business and Beyond will be back.
International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained. International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
We now talk of metal components and parts classified as champions under the Philippine Export Development Plan. By champion, we mean these are products with growing global demand and with increased Philippine share. To update us on what's happening in the industry, we are pleased to have with us the PhilExport trustee for the metal sector and the president and CEO of his own company, Acutech Steel and Service Center. Please welcome Mr. Jimmy Chan. Sir, how has the industry and your business evolved through the years, considering all the trade agreements, all the developments globally?
Lately, in the last 5 to 10 years, the growth of manufacturing from China has grown significantly in many folds. So in such a situation, the world is experiencing a glut in supply, and that has created a lot of different pressures. In fact, in the Philippines, we do not have a primary steel manufacturer, meaning to say we don't have blast furnaces, whereas our neighbor ASEAN countries are all working towards that direction. However, in the Philippines, we have an advantage in terms of having so many other countries investing in the primary, and they have intermediate products that are being exported to the Philippines.
Sir, we want to be an industrialized country, no? We are in fact accelerating manufacturing, but without these basic industries, is that something that we can do?
We can do that. As I mentioned, the prices of basic raw materials are much more competitive than we are getting from our competitors in the ASEAN region. So that gives us some slight distinct advantage. However, in the field of engineering, the metal engineering, in terms of utilizing them, using the equipment, the technology, this is, I think, the area wherein we have to really focus and develop. There are various associations in the metal industry. We're talking about from the very basic, from the die and mold manufacturing. We have a Philippine Die and Mold Association, which is really championing all the technology and asking also different government organizations like the MIRDC, the Metal Industry Research Development Center, the Department of Science and Technology. We're asking them really to bring in good equipment, good technology, and transfer of know-how.
What are some latest technologies and trends which companies like yours and even industry players have to know, have to adapt?
In all basic manufacturing, computer plays a very big role. We need people with more information, with more training, and with more knowledge with computers.
What specific assistance would you need from government so that your sector continues to survive and to compete?
So in terms of the general requirements for us really to develop, I think we should be looking at fair playing ground for everybody. We have to talk about reduction in smuggling. We have to work towards a better tariff arrangement. We have to talk about competitive power rates.
May tariffs pa ba ang metal?
On some items there is.
Okay, are these major items?
It's mostly the tariffs are in the range of about 5 to 10%. So for basic manufacturing, for the basic steel, right now there is already no tariff. So this is why I was saying we have very distinct advantage compared to other countries.
Sir, do you have a roadmap already?
So one of the first roadmaps that was been approved and presented to the BOI was the one for the Philippine Die and Mold Association. There is a roadmap also for the metals and engineering, and there's also the roadmap from primary steels.
So, how big is the industry ba, sir, in terms of players and the supply chain that you cover?
We consume about 6 million tons of steel compared with our neighboring Vietnam is almost double that volume. There is a significant volume of steel that we have to catch up in order to say that we would like to go industrialized.
Sir, your sector has been labeled as champions. What do you think should happen, or what will make it sustain its category?
I think it is not that easy because we have really to have principal users of steel products, and that I think we do not have that much. Particularly, let's say if we compare this with Thailand, wherein there are more than close, I think, to 18 assemblers of automotive. So in the Philippines, we just already embarked last year on this CARS program, and this CARS program is also limited. So maybe this is a good start, and once we get this in place, maybe we can attract more activities. And
Okay, so if you have a message to the government to assist the sector, what will it be?
a fair playing field, I think that would be the most important.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing with us your time and your wisdom.
Thank you.
Business and Beyond will be back.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained. International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
We're here at Camiseta ni Julio in Tacloban City, one of the first companies that recovered after Typhoon Yolanda. To share their inspiring story, we have with us the owners of the company, Mr. Julio and Miss Bernardita Lozano. What happened when Yolanda struck?
Anak kong lalaki na ito. Ako doon sa kanila siya. Si Mrs. naman nandoon sa bahay. So, nung makita ko talaga makas ang hangin, na hindi mo talaga makita yung kalsada. Nakita ko, naglilitawan yung mga tricycle na pipadyak, tapos yung motor cab,
May lumulutang.
lumulutang, tapos yung kotse, naglilitawan talaga. So, talagang lahat ng mga machines, lahat ng nabasayan. Wala na, desperate ako. Sabi ko, wala na talagang pwedeng magamit. So, nag-move kami sa Cebu dahil hindi ko na makayanan yung amoy ng mga patay.
Sabi ko, ano bang gagawin ko? Sabi ni Lord, why are you crying when you are still in my hand? Sabi niya, bumalik kayo doon sa Tacloban. Imagine, ako ang first nakapagbukas ng tindahan, December 19. Ang daming bumibili, nandyan yung kawali, nandyan yung balde, lahat ng dyan.
At ang unang-una pong t-shirt na lumabas after you recovered is this one, no? Yung mga similar t-shirts carrying the battle cry, Tindog Tacloban. Tindog is waray for stand up, recover. T-shirts pa rin yun after, no? The same collection. So, is this a bigger factory now and a bigger collection than before?
A bigger collection than before.
Okay. So, paano po kayo naka-recover? Sino-sino yung mga nakatulong sa inyo?
Yung first, tumawag ako kila Ilmar, SBC.
SB Corporation.
Oo. Binigyan nila ako ng 500,000.
So, ano po yung mensahe nyo para sa mga
So,
tao?
Kumbaga may mga calamities na dumating man sa mga kapwa entrepreneurs, huwag kayong mabahala. May Diyos. Tapos, trust in the Lord. Tapos, gagawa talaga. Meron tayong mga sa gobyerno. Talagang tulong. Magantay lang tayo. Be patient.
Amen. Salamat po for sharing your story. Nakaka-inspire po sa ating mga kababayan. Business and Beyond will be back. This ends this week's episode. We hope that you gained useful information and lessons from our discussion.
We'll see you again next week for more business news and insights. Please visit our social media accounts to share with us your comments, views, and suggestions.
Always remember, connections matter. Here at Business and Beyond.
This program was presented by International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.